it in your hands. I was really pleased with Danny. We were talking last night and then today when I heard him speak. You know what? Pauline told me this, and I'm glad I wasn't driving when she said it. Do you realize right now we have 2,500 listings sitting in each one of your offices that total 2,500? Listings that haven't sold. Now, do you think there's buyers out there right now? Out of the 2,500, how many do you think are priced right if they haven't sold? Anybody? Kids, you got money in the bank right now. You have money in the bank. What I would suggest to each and every one of you is kind of do what Danny did. Call them. Do a current CMA right now. If you have 1, 10, 5, 3, whatever you have, do a current CMA on that property. Take a look at that property and go see your manager. You two dukes it out where you think that price should be. And then have the courage to go see those clients, because you owe it to them to tell them the truth. Because what's going to happen if it doesn't sell? You'll lose it. You're going to lose it anyways. So here's what I would say, and I'm not yelling, you know, I just talk this way, okay? Think about that. If you don't have the courage to go, take your manager. Take Pauline. If I'm in the area, I'll go with you. But don't be upset with the outcome if I go. You are misleading the client by not telling them the truth. You really are. They are counting on you for you to tell them what it's going to take to sell their property. And like Danny said, all of them don't want to hear it. There's a lot of them that don't. So out of the 2,500 sitting out there right now, let's get 1,500 of those sold in the next 45 days by going and talking to those people about a price reduction. Here's the funny thing, and I use this example, so if it's too graphic, close your eyes. Here's what we do to people. Now, the arm has to come off. You go see a doctor, the arm has to come off. But you go see the doctor and you go, what do you think, doc? And he goes, let me just cut the wrist here. That's a little price reduction. Let's do 10,000 maybe. When you know it should be 100. Got it so far? It's visual. They're mad at you, it hurts. But they do it. Then you go back in another couple weeks. You know what? We better cut the elbow off. Let's go for another 25. Now they're really upset with you. When you really go for the main one, they tell you, I've given you 2 price reductions and it hasn't sold. Just go in for the jugular. Say the whole arm has to come off and you'll be done. If you get to 75,000 and it should be 100, you're better than where you're sitting today. Are you following me? Why don't we do that? Why do we take a listing if we don't think it's going to sell? Because we hope something will happen. Hope has never been a strategy. Ever. Never. Here's what you have to do. You have to have the confidence that you know what you're talking about. You have to understand. You need to tell them the truth. Because when you take an overpriced listing, who do you hurt? Yourself and that seller. Because an overpriced listing helps sell someone else's home. That's all it does. And you're doing a disservice by taking it. You know, I teach a class, 1 appointment a day, 5 days a week. If anybody ever heard it, I have a new Moxie one, so I'll come to the Carolinas if Pauline lets me, and I'll teach the new Moxie one. But I will tell you, Moxie, if you're not using Moxie, shame on you. That thing is the most powerful tool in my 36 years that I've ever seen. Who's using Moxie? Is that not the most amazing thing? You can be... I went on a presentation with an agent because I like to go in the field. I like to feel what you kids are feeling. And I went out and guys start yapping about, well, my house, the comps you used aren't the ones that should be compared to my house. My house should be compared to something else. She whips it into that computer, and that house he was yipping about pulls up, had 5 bedrooms, you had 3, it has 4.5, you know, it had all kind of stuff that house did, and that's why she didn't use it as a comp. Have you ever been on a presentation and they start yipping about something and you don't have it with you? Now you could just pull it up. It pulls up FSBOs, it pulls up expireds, it pulls up whatever they want in front of them instant time. Is that not powerful? See, you overcome an objection right there. Knowledge is power. What I would really say in my career is change your behavior, you change your life. Doing the same thing day in and day out is what definition? You all know the answer. But yet, every day of our life, we go into the office with really good intention, and we do the same thing. Then we say, nothing's happening. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Or you work so hard on that one individual listing that'll never sell in your lifetime, and they torture you. They want big ads. They want you to wash their car. They want you to take the cat out, whatever they want. And then you go, I hate listings. God, I hate them. How many do you have? 1? But we love buyers. Don't we love buyers? Oh, they're the best. They may never buy anything in their lifetime, but we love them. Because we got a client in our car. Kids, if you figure it out, and you figure out 1 appointment a day, 5 days a week, just to go see a property, to talk to somebody about selling their home, you will change the dynamics of your behavior and of your life. I always talk about my why, I really do. If you don't know who your why is or what your why is, please find one, because this job is hard. This job is not for the weak of heart. This job, some days you just go, what am I doing? Now, if you're not making a lot of money, you really are saying, what am I doing? See, every time I didn't want to call somebody, every time I didn't want to contact somebody because they were just awful, my little daughter's face would pop inside mine, and I'd look at that and I'd go, darn it, I am never going to let my success stop, because I need to take care of my why. See, if you figure that out, that'll get you through a lot of stuff. Sometimes your why might be your children, might be your spouse. One guy told me it was a boat. I was like, if you want that boat, go for it, big guy. But pick that. If you do that, I am telling you, there's a big difference in your life. When I didn't want to call somebody back, or I didn't want to get my 1 appointment, because I was tired. I'd worked really hard. I was exhausted. I was a single mom. Some days were not that easy. But I thought of her. She's now 38 years old. Now I think of her and my grandchildren. I mean, it's growing, my why. See, when you find your why, kids, it'll change your life. It really will change your life if you want to do this job. What you have to really remember in your hearts is you have the most important job in the United States of America. Do you know that? Do you realize how important your role is? See, when the economy was tanking, things were falling from the sky, housing wasn't moving. Do you remember that a couple years ago now?
Yeah.
It's because homes weren't moving. People changed their mind about the American dream. They thought they should rent. They didn't think the value was in the home. And everyone stopped working. And then all of a sudden, because you kids, day after day, came in and fought the good fight and fought the battle, you started to pick up momentum. And you started to sell houses to people that lives change when they purchase it. And guess what happened? People started to go to work. Follow my rationale. I buy a house. It's perfect. Till I get in there that night and I say, honey, we need new furniture. We got to change this carpet. I think we should paint. How about a landscaper? How about a roofer? How about an addition? How about paving that driveway? And guess what? All those things have workers behind them, don't they?
Yep.
See, when you sell a home, you sell America. You really do. People go to work because of the one thing you do. That is a pretty honorable job. So when we don't want to do that, when we get tired from doing that, and we just want to give up, think about it. You owe the United States of America to go do what you're supposed to do. Right now, in order to have a great holiday, you need to get your price reductions. Everybody in this room that has a listing, you gotta promise me you're gonna go back and talk to your office manager and talk to them about where that price should be. Dukes it out. If you don't want to go alone, take your manager with you. Sometimes a third party coming into the situation helps you get a reduction. Because sometimes you're bringing the manager. They'll listen. But what are you doing if you don't do that? Why did you list that property if it wasn't going to sell? Why did you spend all that money marketing if it wasn't going to sell? Guys, if I could change anything in your lives, I would just change your behavior on that direction. I would get you to make one appointment a day, 5 days a week to get a listing, and then get them priced right and get them sold. If you could just do that. But why don't we? Why don't we? Why do we keep doing the same thing we do every day and hope somebody calls us? Remember what I said about hope? Mm-hmm. Why don't we do it? Because we don't have the courage sometimes. Or we don't have the confidence sometimes to change our behavior. Sometimes we get so caught up in the muck of it that we're not thinking. I was gaining a lot of weight, and I was like a nervous wreck because I thought something was wrong. I'm like, oh, this can't be. I never eat. So I went to the doctor, and I said, Doc, do it like I have a tumor or what? Because something's going on here. And he checked me out, and he said, Kate, do me a favor. I want you to write down every day what you're putting in your mouth. Like, what are you eating every day? Oh, no problem. I could do that. By the second day, I realized I didn't have a tumor because I was getting a handful of M&Ms. I had a bag of chips. When I start writing it down, what I was doing, I recognized why I was gaining weight. What I'd like each and every one of you to do tomorrow, today, whenever you go back, is write down what you do every day in the office or doing your real estate if you have a home office, of what you're doing to generate business. What is it that you're doing? Not working on a closing, because that thing's going to close with or without you, but what are you doing to generate new business? And if you write that down, you're going to realize you've got a lot of time in there that you're spending on something that doesn't generate revenue for you. Someday, I would love to have a little bobblehead, and I'm going to stick it on every one of your shoulders. And just say, did you get your appointment? Mm-hmm. Did you get your appointment? Did you get your appointment? Can we get that? I think I'm getting those for you. My daughter just got into the business 2 years ago. She swore to God she'd never do it. She's a computer science major. She has three wonderful grandchildren. And 2 years ago, she said, Mom, maybe I'll sell real estate. I was like, serious? Are you serious? So she's like, yes. Her first year, she had, I think, 40 or 50 listings. Her second year, she's out of control. She's worse than I was. And she has a husband that's nice. I was married to Jekyll. I had no hope. But every day I talk to her and I say to her, she'll say, morning, Mom. Did you get your listing? No, that's bad. I'm a terrible mother that way. She goes, how about a low? How about a low? But she's programmed. See, she's programmed that that's what she has to do. I wish I could program you kids. Because the person that has inventory wins in any market. I had 72 listings my first year, 100 and some my second year, when interest rates were 18%, and I made 6 figures. See, it doesn't matter what the interest rates are. It doesn't matter what happens to the market. If you're in this business and you control inventory and you get it priced right, it's the American dream. People will figure out a way to buy a home. So the next time you think about what you're doing to drive revenue, think about the appointment. Have the confidence, have the courage, and change your lives. Love all of you. Thank you.